Before we begin, I want you to imagine something. You are completely alone. No roads, no houses, no phone signal. Just endless snow stretching as far as your eyes can see. Then, without warning, the wind begins to roar. Within a minute, the temperature drops below freezing. Your tent starts collapsing, so you call for help, but no one can reach you because nature has already made its decision. Tonight's story is not fiction, it's not a creepypasta, it's the heartbreaking true story of a YouTuber who documented the adventure he loved most without realizing he was recording the final night of his life. What's going on, everyone? Tonight's video is not about a ghost or a monster hiding in the woods. It's about something far more terrifying because sometimes the greatest predator in the wilderness is nature itself. These are the tragic final stories of content creators who walked into the wild, believed they would return home with incredible footages, but never made it back. And trust me, the first story is one you won't forget. So grab a drink, turn the lights down, and let's begin. If you had discovered Storm Debule YouTube channel, you probably would have subscribed immediately, unlike most travel creators. Storms did not rely on flashing editing, loud music, or or exaggerated reactions. His videos were almost completely silent. No narrations, no background music, just the sound of crunching snow beneath his boots. The wind moving through endless forests, the wind moving through endless forests, and a peaceful landscape that made viewers feel as though they were walking beside him. That simple style became his signature. Every upload felt less like a YouTube video and more like an invasion to escape reality. But behind those peaceful adventure, Strom was doing something very few people would ever dare attempt. He explored some of Northern Europe, harsh wilderness completely alone. This was not a hobby he had started yesterday. By the age of 19, solo camping had already become part of his life. Over the following years, he pushed himself further than most experienced hikers ever world on one expeditions. He traveled more than 6,000 kilometers across Sweden almost entirely by bicycle, sleeping outside, crossing isolated trains, serving with only the equipment he carried on his back. Every, sus- every successful trip gave him even more confidence, and that confidence convinced him his next adventure would be on different. Unfortunately, nature does not care how experienced you are. Near the end of October 2024, Storm set out on another solo expedition through Sweden's remote Lapland wilderness. It looked like a perfect adventure with forests, fresh snow, miles of untouched landscape, exactly the kind of place he loved filming. He parked his car near a small town, loaded his backpack, picked up his camera, and disappeared into the wilderness. The plan was simple: spend several days exploring, record everything, and then hike back to his car before heading home. It was a journey he had completed dozens of times before. There was absolutely no reason to believe this trip would be any different. As the day passed, Strom slowly made his way back toward civilization. According to his route, he was only about a day's walk away from reaching his car. Home was finally within reach, but the Arctic wilderness had other plans. Late that afternoon, the sky being changing, the wind became noticeably stronger. The temperature started dropping. Darkness arrived much earlier than accepted. Strom faced a difficult decision. Continue hiking through in unfamiliar trains in complete darkness, or stop, set up camp, and continue after sunrise. Like any experienced outdoors man, he chose the safer option. He found the suitable location, pitched his tent, and even built small snow walls around it to reduce the force of a wind. Everything appears under control for the moment because only a few hours later, the weather transformed into something nobody had predicted. The wind suddenly exploded across the mountains within minutes. It reached nearly 75 miles per hour. Snow buried everything inside, and inside that teeny tent. Storm realized he may not survive the night. At first, Storm was not worried. Blizzards were not coming in northern Sweden. He had survived brutal winters before. Strong winds, freezing temperatures, heavy snowfall. None of it was new to him. But this storm was different. Within minutes, the peaceful silence outside his tent disappeared. The wind slammed into the fabric with such force. It sounded like something enormous was trying to rip it apart. Snow blasted through the darkness, burying everything around him. The small snow walls he had carefully built vanished almost instantly. The temperature kept falling, first below freezing, then even lower. But the air temperature was not the real danger. The wind chill made it feel closer to minus 18 degrees Celsius. At those temperatures, exposed skin can be freezing in minutes, even inside the sleeping bag. Several became a phrase against a time storm now that he had spent years learning how to survive conditions exactly like these. Yet even all the experience, Yet even all that experience could not show what was happening outside. As the hours passed, the storm only became more violent. Every gust pushed harder against the tent. The fabric snapped violently with every blast. Eventually, Strom did something he had never done before. He picked up his phone not to film another beautiful landscape, but to record what may become his final message. The short video showed the tent shaking uncontrollable and Strom trying to stay calm despite the chaos surrounding him. Then he quietly said, Tonight, it's only going to get worse. Those few words would later become some of the last recording anyone would ever hear from him. The short time later, he called someone he loved. His grandmother disappeared everything happening around him. He reassured her that everything would be okay, but she would survive. Looking back, those words are heartbreaking because no one, not even Strom himself, know how quickly the situation was slipping. At 2:36 o'clock in the morning, Strom made the call he had spent years hoping he would never have to make. An emergency SOS. His voice was weak. He told rescue operators he had been injured. His nose was broken. The storm had become impossible to survive alone. He needed help immediately. The dispatcher's straight call. Rescue teams were alerted within minutes. A helicopter prepared for takeoff. Ground crew gathered their equipments. Everyone wanted to reach him, but nature had already closed every door. The blizzard had become too powerful. Winds exceeding 70 miles per hour made flying impossible. Visibility dropped to almost zero. Snow buried roads and mountains paths. Ground rescuers could not safely move through the area for the first time. Strom was not fighting the cold anymore. He was fighting time, and time was winning. Strom was still somewhere inside that frozen wilderness, completely alone. No one knew that the next morning they would not be searching for a survivor, they would be searching for a body. Morning finally arrived, but the storm did not. The blizzard still dominated the mountains, making every rescue attempt painfully slow. Visibility was almost non existent. Even experienced rescue teams know that taking one wrong step in conditions like these could create even more victims. All they could do was wait for a small break in the weather. Every passing hours meant Storm was spending more time alone. In temperatures no human body was built endure. Finally the wind began to waken. It was not safe, but it was safe enough to try. Rescue crew immediately moved toward to the coordinates Strom had transmitted during his emergency call. They accepted the find him cold, exhausted, maybe injured, but alive. After all, he was one of Sweden's most experienced solo adventurers. If anyone could survive a night like that, it was him. Hours later, the rescue teams spotted something almost completely buried beneath the snow. It was Strom's campsite. His tent had partly collapsed under the weight of the blizzard. Snow covered nearly everything. The wilderness had erased almost every sign that someone had ever been there. The rescue carefully dug through the frozen layers, hoping against hope. But deep down, most of them already know. Inside the tent, they found Strom. He had not survived the night. He was just 21-year-old. The news spread quickly. Friends could not believe it. Subscribers refused to accept it. People kept checking his channel, hoping someone had made a mistake, hoping another video would appear, but it never did. The young man who had inspired thousands of explore nature had taken his final journey. As investigators pieced together his last hour, one thing became painfully clear. Strom had not been reckless, he had not ignored obvious danger. He had made careful decisions. He stopped before hiking in complete darkness. He built protection around his tent. He carried proper care. He called for help when he realized the situation had become impossible. He did everything an experienced outdoorsman was supposed to do. Sometimes nature simply does not give you another chance. In in the weeks that follow, people from around the world flooded the comments. Many thanked him for inspiring them to appreciate the outdoors. Others attempts his video had helped them through depressions, anxiety, or a difficult moment in life. His peaceful adventure suddenly carried a heartbreaking meaning. Every quiet walk through the forest, every snow mountain trail, every sunset he captured on camera because part of a legacy he never knew he was leaving behind. Strom had always believed the wilderness was a place of peace, and for most of his life, it truly was. But the same mountains that give him unforgettable memories also witnessed his final moments. His story is not a reminder to fear nature, it's a reminder to respect it. Because no matter how experienced you are, no matter how carefully you prepare, the wilderness always has the final word. As tragic as Strom's story was, the next creator did not lose his life to freezing temperatures or a violent storm. Instead, he disappeared into one of the most unforgiving landscapes on earth, and what investigators uncovered afterward was even harder to explain.